Meantime, there is a possible plan in the works in New York City to give the boot to thousands of teachers who are on the payroll but don't actually work. Sound like a good idea? It's actually very controversial. New York's Mayor Michael Bloomberg is warning that thousands of teachers may have to be laid off due to state budget cuts. But the mayor is up against a law that protects teachers who have seniority irrespective of their job performance, and he's trying to change that. Oh boy, is there pushback. My guest now, Nancy Skinner, a syndicated radio talk show host. So Nancy, welcome back. So this is the state law in New York requires the city to fire teachers on the basis of seniority and not competence. And Mayor Bloomberg says he's going to have to fire as many or lay off as many as 20,000 teachers, and he's trying to stand that law on its head and say, I want to fire the poor performers first, and the ones who are collecting paychecks but not working because their schools were shut down because of poor performance first, and not just go by seniority. And the unions are pushing back. Why? How?
Well, Megan, you're referring to, he's attacking the last in, last out rule that says, you know, that if you're new, you're the first to go.
Right.
There are so many problems with what Mayor Bloomberg is trying to do with this. One, this law, what it does is say, you think it's like, well, we got more younger, less costly teachers in the system, right? That's a good thing. But that's like saying, fire all the experienced surgeons and let's go with the newbies because they cost us less. There was a compact with teachers. These are experienced teachers who then you just don't throw them off the payrolls when the budget is tight. When they're in their 50s and they have all this experience, how are they going to get another job? What's the economic impact of throwing 20,000 teachers? He's trying to balance the budget, right? So what happens? You have a loss of tax revenues from these teachers. You have benefits that have to be paid out. It doesn't make sense on so many levels. And finally, I'm going to say, I think there's a hidden agenda in this. Because once you open up the unions and the mayor's able to go in and fire who he wants, then they can go after people for their political, if they're standing up to the politicians, if they have political stripes of one set or another.
Mayor
That's
Bloomberg,
why unions form these insulating protections.
Wait, but Nancy, okay, so I appreciate that because that lays out the teacher's case very nicely, which is important for our viewers to understand. But the mayor is not saying, let's just get rid of the oldies. You know, he is saying, and this is a quote from the New York Post, he says, if the governor's budget contains education cuts, it must also contain changes to the law so that we can take merit into account when making these difficult decisions. It must allow us to keep our best teachers. Right now, the system doesn't account for merit at all.
Well, actually, the race to the top, President Obama's newest education reform passed in May in New York, and that does reform a lot of the issues you're talking about. If you get 2 bad performance reviews, you're gone, and they expedited it so that you will be gone. That's a change. They changed the rules so up to 40% is based on merit with this new law, and the other 60% is based on how well you get along with parents and colleagues, how well you're participating. So there has been great progress in this area. And granted, the old system had to be on and I agree with you on that.
How can you argue
have made
we
that.
want to look at merit. We don't, because you know, then for sure, you don't want just older but competent and successful teachers getting the boot because they think the younger ones are cheaper. Nobody wants that. That's not a good idea. But don't you also want merit to be the #1 thing? Because the mayor's talking about, first of all, there are between 2,000 and 4,000 non-classroom teachers who are in these so-called rubber rooms under disciplinary charges. So they get charged with something, doing something to a kid or whatever. They don't fire you. They put you in a so-called rubber room, but you're still getting paid. He wants to get rid of them first. And then there's another, I don't know how many teachers are in the so-called absent teacher reserve pool, which includes non-working but on the payroll teachers from schools that have been shut down because of poor performance. Can't we all agree those 2 groups should be the first to go?
Well, New York, the rubber rooms are gone, so I'm not sure what he's talking about. I checked on that.
He says there are between 2,000 and 4,000 non-classroom teachers who were formerly languishing in those rubber rooms, but now they're just languishing in general.
Well, I think there's a distinction between non-teaching teachers they're not certified teachers, but they're part of the system. So these people who they're not in the classroom, but they're helping, they're mentoring, they're looking at teacher qualifications.
So what? Too bad. They got in trouble.
So they're not teachers.
They're not as good as the teachers who are in the classroom actually helping the kids. And most of the teachers who are about to lose their jobs, who the mayor likes, are helping the poor inner city kids.
Well, you know what? You know, Megan, you and I both know. I've got a team of people behind me that make us look good. You've got a way bigger team behind you that help you.
God bless those people.
And that's what teachers need, all that assistance to make them the best that they are. So you can't just say, you're not a certified teacher, you're not in the classroom, you're gone. I mean,
well,
it's a
tough
system.
times call for tough decisions is his argument.
And
Gotta
it is
run
the
because I
key
got a
to
hard
our
break in
economic
8
future.
seconds.
Back to the economics of it.
Very
It doesn't
nice
make
job
any
laying it out,
sense
Nancy
to
Skinner.
lay
Thank
off
you.
these
I got to
people
go.
are making
Health Corps ruling,
between
we're waiting.
45 and 90.